now that our brain and body is all warmed up, it is time to do our emotions check-in. Go ahead and close those eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now on this next breath, I want you to really think about how you're breathing. Go ahead, keep those eyes closed. Breathe in. Breathe out. Slowly open those eyes. We're going to go ahead and jump to our morning message. I'm going to turn you guys just a little bit. Actually, I'm also going to bring you guys to the side. Okay. Now, I'm going to point and you guys are going to follow along while I read. Good morning, Kipsters. Can you believe it is almost Friday? I can't believe it. On Tuesday, we learned about our hearts. Today, we are going to talk about a different body part, our lungs. Now raise your hand if you know what our lungs are. Raise your hand if you know what our lungs do. Our lungs are really close to our hearts, actually. Our lungs are right here inside of our bodies. Now, I want you to put your hands right here, kind of on your tummy, a little bit higher, and I want you to take a really big, deep breath in. Do you feel those bones pushing out? Breathe out. Did you feel them go back in? Let's do that one more time. You're going to feel those bones pushing out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Those bones are called our ribs. Behind our ribs are our lungs. Our ribs are the bones that protect our lungs. Our lungs are what's filling up. It's what makes your body move when you breathe. Our lungs are filling up with air. Our lungs are one of the most important body parts we have, just like our hearts. Our lungs are what make us able to take in oxygen. Say oxygen. Oxygen is the most important thing in the world. It is what makes us able to be alive. Without oxygen, we couldn't breathe. And if we couldn't breathe, we couldn't live. That's why our lungs are so important. But it also does something else. When we're breathing in and out and our lungs are filling up with air, it helps us be calm. Just like how in our emotions check-in, we always start with deep breaths in and out. Yeah, we're breathing, but those breaths, our lungs are helping our bodies stay calm. And they're helping us to be mindful of how we're feeling. So not only are lungs super important to just everyday living, but they're also really important as we're learning to be mindful about our emotions and our bodies. Now, Miss London told me that on Tuesday, you guys made origami cats, which sounds so fun. So I thought it would be cool if in morning meeting we also made origami. But instead of making an origami animal, we're gonna make origami lungs. We're gonna make origami that we can blow up, that's gonna get big and then small again, just like our lungs do. So we're gonna pop on over to my dining room table so that I can show you guys how to make the origami. It's gonna be a little difficult, but I know that if we work together and we're super patient, that we're gonna be able to do it. Let's head on over there. The materials you're going to need for our origami lung are going to be a piece of paper, a pair of scissors, and optional, meaning that you do not need to have it, is going to be a pencil. Again, pencil is optional, absolutely do not need it, but you do need a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. So what we're gonna do to get started is we actually need to turn this piece of paper from a rectangle into a square, which is why you need that pair of scissors. So I am going to cut this piece of paper so that all of the sides are the same length. Kipsters, I really encourage you to get some help from a parent or a sibling or some adult who's in the house to help you make sure that your sides are straight. If you don't have anyone there, totally fine. Again, we're gonna use our scissors to cut our rectangle into a square. Okay, now that we have made our rectangle into a square, again, we have all equal sides, and we can go ahead and we can actually get started with making our lung. So the first thing that you are going to do, and this is where that optional pencil is gonna come in, it's gonna matter which side is up and which side is down. So I'm just gonna use my pencil to shade the top. If you wanna draw a picture, you can. It doesn't really matter what this looks like. I just need to know that this is the top of the paper. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the top of this square, we're gonna bring it down, and we are gonna fold it in half. So when we're folding something in half, we really wanna make sure that the corners are touching each other. So when I'm folding my paper, I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to be all the way down here. I wanna make sure that this corner is gonna touch that corner. So I'm gonna put, those corners are touching. I'm gonna slide over here. Those corners look like they are touching. It might not be perfect. You just want it to get as close as possible. Again, it is okay if it's not perfect, but you do want it to be as close as possible because that's gonna get you the best lungs. So now that those corners look like they're pretty close to touching, I'm gonna push down on this line that I've made. Now it looks like we've got a little bit of a hot dog bun. So what you're actually gonna do, you're gonna flip your paper over. Now this crease should be down the middle, not from top to bottom, but from down, not from top to bottom, but it should be from side to side. So, and it's poking up a little bit, which is exactly what it should be doing. So we had it like this, now we're flipping it over. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this corner and we're gonna fold it diagonally. So we're gonna bring it down and we're gonna fold it. And look, we can see the drawing that you may have made on the top of your paper. So now you're gonna fold again. You wanna make sure those corners are touching and we're making this triangle. So again, we're just gonna push down on this line. I'm gonna use my finger to really push it down and make sure that it is as folded as possible. We're gonna open it back up. We're gonna do the same thing with this corner. We're gonna take it and we're gonna fold this corner down. We're gonna again make sure that those corners are touching. Check to make sure the corners up here are as close together as possible. Once again, absolutely does not have to be perfect, just as close as you can get it. Mine certainly is not perfect. Okay, again, pushing down. Now, I've got this blank side of paper. So what we're actually gonna do is we're actually gonna flip it so that the side that you may have colored on is now on top. So now what you're gonna do is you have the line down the middle from what you folded before, and you have these two diagonal lines. So the line in the middle, you're gonna use two fingers and you're gonna push the line in, both those lines, and then you're gonna take the front and the back. So you're gonna push in, and you're gonna take the front and the back of the other sides, and you're gonna bring them in together. One more time. So it's sticking up. I'm gonna push those sides in, right here, push them in, and then grab the front and the back, and now I have a triangle. So what we're gonna do is there's two parts of this triangle. We've got these front parts, and we've got these back parts. Right now we're only gonna work with the parts in the front. You're gonna take this side of your triangle, and you're gonna fold it up so that this corner is touching the top corner. And then you're gonna fold. Now notice how I left, there's still some paper behind here. I didn't take the whole corner. I took the top part and I folded it in, left the bottom. Now you're gonna do the same exact thing on the other side. You're gonna take the front triangle, leaving the back one down, and you're gonna fold it so that the corner is touching the top there. And now we've made a square. See that? Now we've made another square. So now what you're gonna do is you are gonna take the corner right here from this triangle that you just folded, and you're gonna fold it inward. Super easy. Same thing on this side. Take the triangle, fold it in. You might have to push down a little hard because now, since our paper is getting folded a ton, it might be a little bit harder to push. Okay. Now you've got these two flaps of paper at the top. You're gonna fold those flaps of paper down. There should still be paper behind. You're not folding the whole shape, just those two loose flaps at the top. You're gonna push them down. So now, in these corners that we had just folded in, there are these little slits or openings. So you're gonna take the triangles that you just folded down, you're gonna put them inside of those slits so that they stay secured and they don't pop up.
Now this part can be just a little bit tricky. It's okay if they pop up, not a big deal. Just try your hardest. Same thing on this side, you're gonna put that triangle into this slit. It is okay again if it is not perfect. It is just important that you are trying. You're gonna fold down. Now, so we have all those pieces that we folded in, and we're gonna flip over now. I'm just gonna give one push to make sure that that bottom, I'm sorry, not the bottom, the back is really folded and really nice and secure. Now we're gonna do the same exact thing. We're gonna take these guys and we're gonna fold the corners up to the top. Now this time around, there actually shouldn't be anything there because we had this triangle in the back before, remember? Now we're using that triangle to fold up. So same thing over here. Corner is gonna touch the top corner, and now we have just, ooh, that's okay. Now we have just a square. We're gonna fold those corners in again so it's touching that line down the middle. Now this part, again, it might be tricky because we're getting to the point where now we have a bunch of folded paper, so it might be a little tough to fold. That's okay, just push down as hard as you can. Same thing over here, we're gonna push down the paper. Then we've got those two loose flaps up here. And again, we've got these little pockets, and we're gonna fold those triangles and we're gonna put them inside. Pushing down to make sure they are nice and secured in there so when we blow up our lung, it doesn't fall apart. Okay, and that is how you make the lung. And I'll see you guys in just a second to show how we're gonna blow it up.
Now I know that that was a little tricky. Thank you guys for pushing through. It can be pretty hard to make these things. I mean, you guys saw I was struggling too. But now we have our origami lung. So here is how we're gonna blow it up. So at the bottom of this lung, do you see it has this little hole right there? So we have the flaps, those loose bits that we folded in, and on the bottom, so on the opposite side of those, there's a little hole that was left open. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your finger and stretch that hole out just a little bit because it might not be big enough to blow into. So I made mine a little bigger. Now we're gonna put our mouths on it and we're gonna blow up our lung, just like the lungs inside our bodies. You ready? Is it open? Go ahead, put your mouth on it and blow. Look at that! We made an origami lung that gets bigger, just like the lungs inside our bodies do. Let's do it one more time. Look at that, it's like a little balloon. Look at how that lung gets bigger and smaller, just like the lungs inside our bodies do when we are doing our mindful breathing. So cool. All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little project for morning meeting. I know that it was tough, but you guys really worked so hard and were so patient with yourselves. Awesome, awesome, awesome job. We're gonna go back over to the table for some sight words, and I'll see you guys in just a second.